who I just finished debating in the last round of the debate started crying. So it was the final round of Southeast Kansas's regional debate tournament. Her coach had beat my coach out of the judges' room, and if she was crying, I was going to state. Awesome. So I feel like on some level, that the rest of this story is maybe a karmic response to the fact that I was ecstatic when she broke into tears. So the other, in Kansas, which is where I'm from, if you're a debater, you only get to debate in the fall, and in the spring there's this thing called forensics, which is like everything else speech related. You tell speeches, you do acts, whatever. It's a ton of different things. And I was supposed to be good at this. I did really well at debate. I was only a sophomore when I made it to state debate, which just like doesn't happen. But here's the thing. In Southeast Kansas, I always did really well, but Southeast Kansans never beat the rest of the state because we didn't debate at all like the rest of them. So I went to state debate my sophomore year, and I knew that was as good as it was going to get because I wasn't ever going to win state debate. But there was forensics, and I had more of a shot there, right? But I could just never quite hit my stride in forensics until my junior year. My coach paired me up with this guy named Josh Letner for improvised duet acting. And Josh, I'd known Josh going all the way back to elementary school. He was a lot like me in one way, he was a smart kid, he was really interested in a lot of issues. On the other hand, he was like, well, I was a complete nerd and loved to, make sure I had straight A's all the time. I always showed up for class. I was in student government. Josh was just like drunk and high most of the time, and didn't show up for class a lot. It took him 5 years to get through, Kansas high school, which isn't that impressive. I remember like junior year, he disappeared for like 6 months, and everyone was like, "Where's Josh?" And so this was his senior year, and Josh and I are doing IDA together, improvised duet acting. And I remember our first tournament, we go out there together, and at the end of the tournament, the way it works, it was one of these tournaments where you go through 5 rounds, and then at the end of it, they just bring up they call up the top scoring people. And so they call up the top 6 names. They called our name last, and so we're walking to the end of the line, and we're walking up there, and then they start calling off the people who from 6th on up to 1st, and we got 6th, and so we just did this perfect about face together, and went and got our 6th place score. And that was cool. We got 6th place at our very first tournament. But after that first tournament, we won every single tournament in a row. It was fantastic. We just kept getting first. Our coach quit sending us to tournaments because we would just get first every time, and it was like, what's the point? Other people should win, right? So it was at that first tournament, though, where we innovated a lot of our best moments. So one of our things is we kick off every round with a song. We start off with, we rewrite Gilligan's Isle to go with the theme. The way improvised duet acting works is 30 minutes before you're supposed to perform, you walk into the high school gym that you're in, you pull out 3 topics, and you read each one of them off, and you pick one, and you do an act based on it. So it could be weird things like stuff you see at a mall, or garbage men, or whatever. And so we did, at our first tournament, we did a round where we did Shakespearean style garbage men, talking about their work. That was fun. Another thing we would do, almost every round we were in, we would just see the Pope at some point, and we'd be like, was that the Pope? And do the cross. That was a thing we did every time. My favorite thing, Josh would just suddenly become French sometime and start talking about how France was like Texas. He'd say, France believes it's a whole other country, so does Texas. And his best one was, France is about the same size as Texas, so is Texas. And so there were just kind of things that we would keep coming back to. So the early part of the tournament, because we got first at 3 tournaments in a row, we got to go to state, and so here's my shot. We won 3 tournaments in a row, we're super good, we're doing really well. But like I said, Josh is a party boy, and for state forensics, we have to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to get on this bus and drive for 4 hours to go to Hays, Kansas or whatever and compete. And I'd gone to bed at 8 o'clock in the morning, but Josh had drank 10,000 gallons of whiskey and was stoned out of his mind. And so the whole tournament, we just didn't do a single round that was worth anything. Somehow we make it to finals, we get 6th place, and it's sad. But here's the thing. So I didn't ever win state debate or forensics or any of that, but it was really exciting to go and to work with Josh, and it was a lot of fun. But I'll close with a song from the very first round that Josh and I ever performed together, because I said singing was our trademark. Here's a song. Satan, meet the devil. He's a modern evil kind of guy. Ah, you can't hear the rest of it.